Hello, and welcome to Recapping with Delora
and Ashley.
Please follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter at Recapping Podcast.
Also, rate, review, and subscribe to our show on your favorite podcast platform. We're on all the things.
We want to hear your thoughts on the movies and shows we review.
Leave us a comment on Apple Podcasts or our YouTube channel, and we will read them during the show.
Or reach out to us on social media. We love talking all things entertainment and pop culture with you.
Thank you guys so much for listening.
Thank you.
What's up, Delora?
Hey.
We are back with a new recap for the week. And as we are in Women's History Month, we are doing a very woman-centric project. I said at the end of last week's episode that it could be considered a little controversial just because of the fact that the folks who are big fans of this genre did not show this film a lot of love. And that is The Marvels, released in theaters back in November of last year, and it is now available to stream via Disney+. A quick summary. Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel, gets her powers entangled with those of Kamala Khan and Captain Monica Rambeau, forcing them to work together to save the universe. Side note, we did recap Miss Marvel, the series on Disney+. So this is literally the next extension of this universe with all of these ladies. As well as WandaVision with Captain Monica Rambeau. Director of this is Nia DaCosta. This is the biggest debut ever for a Black woman director. Cast: Brie Larson as Carol Danvers, aka Captain Marvel. Teyonah Parris as Captain Monica Rambeau. Iman Vellani as Kamala Khan, aka Miss Marvel. Samuel L. Jackson as Nick Fury. And Zawe Ashton as Darvin. Reviews: Rotten Tomatoes, 62% critic score, 82% audience score, and 52% of Google users gave this film a thumbs up. Delora, what is your grade for The Marvels?
All right, my grade for The Marvels would be a B. When it comes to this movie, I did enjoy it, but I don't know what didn't click for me. Like, I don't know if it wasn't funny enough for me, or the action was really cool, but the story was a little bit hard to follow, especially when it came to the power switching aspect of it all. Like, I'm like, well, I thought if she used her power, she'll be switched over. There were moments and times within the movie where it was slightly confusing, but I did enjoy the continuation of Captain Marvel's story, and I really enjoyed these actresses individually, and to have them together was a lot of fun. And Samuel L. Jackson is simply the cherry on top.
Nick Fury lives on. Yes, so my grade is a B-. I saw this in theaters. I wanted to support. I did enjoy it, but it definitely was not the strongest storyline of some of the Marvel projects that we've seen and enjoyed over the years, but it's also damn sure not the worst, right?
Correct.
I think that there were moments that I felt like, because you had these other projects that preceded it, we kind of got into things really quickly. And
Yes.
I don't know if that was necessarily for the best, because I feel like you still needed to build a little bit and have a better understanding of the villain and some of the things that were going on, so that it didn't feel as rushed to just kind of, okay, now we're in it. Now we got to move. Now we got to, you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like they could have spent a little more time on like backstory still. But it was a fun ride. There was a particular segment I'm going to talk about that I really enjoyed in this feature, but I enjoyed the fact that Kamala's family is still a part of it because they bring me a lot of joy and humor. I enjoy, to your point, all the three actresses. Iman is so sweet and wide-eyed in real life as well as in this character that it makes you feel excited for this experience that she got to have. And I don't know, I'm a fan of the abilities and the theatrics, I think, that come into this world. But too, I think the point that a lot of people have criticism of. I just think it needed a little bit more development around the totality of the story
Yeah.
and then to be fair, I also did not really care for the ending. So, but we're going to get into all that.
I was gonna also say, speaking to the villain, it's like, was she though?
And
Like,
that's something we're going to get into. She does fall to me in line with kind of the Killmongers,
yes.
where
And then
it's gray.
what I also love is that she's also Loki's fiance in real life and baby mama.
Uh-huh.
I was
Uh-huh.
like, oh, both of y'all getting that Marvel check.
Yeah,
Love to
baby.
see it.
So I did want to talk a little bit about the criticism. I have a couple articles up, but the one that I feel like really laid it out was one by from HuffPost, and the writer is Monita Mohan, and the title is "The Marvels Never Really Stood a Chance," and she lays it out and says, "Have you heard? The Marvels has the lowest box office earnings for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The film brought in $47 million in its opening weekend. So many headlines about the film, which had a reported production budget of $274.8 million, have been screaming about its failure. This is it. This is the end of Marvel franchise. And it's because of all those pesky woke women who think they can make comic book movies." And so she highlights the criticism that many people agree on, that we've talked about, like the backstory needing more, the villain being underdeveloped. But she feels, and I agree with this, that it was racism and misogyny that played a big role in this film not being successful. She points out that it took Marvel 10 years to make a film with a majority Black cast and creative team, and women have been leads in less than a handful of MCU films. And that's not counting the Disney Plus spinoffs. She just pointed out that this film never really stood a chance. You have a Black female director, you have 3 female superheroes, you have Kamala's family, who's all South Asian origin actors.
Yeah.
It was just a really cohesive argument as to why, obviously, this goes beyond supposedly the film not being good. Particularly for me, when I saw this movie, I was like, this is nowhere near as bad as Ant-Man. Throw the totality of the Ant-Man franchise away. And I love Paul Rudd, but I was so underwhelmed when I just saw Quantumania and saw what they did with Kang. And I was like, y'all did a great job with this with Loki. What is this?
Yeah.
So I definitely don't. That's why I said controversial, but for me, it's not, because when I saw it, I was like, it's some bull that this is getting ridiculed the way that it is. We watch mostly all, if not all, Marvel projects between the two of us. I just watched Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
I haven't seen that one yet, but I'm pretty, like you said, we've watched quite a bit, including the shows.
Right? So I'm like, this doesn't hold water for me. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I think a lot of the hoopla about the film itself not being good does not hold water the way that it was portrayed. So I just want folks who are listening, who had decided not to give this film any love or give it a watch because of that, to know that there were other factors as well. So, all right, Delora, let's get into it. Spoiler alert. Our 3 stars, as we talked about, Carol, Monica, Kamala, were all drinking their water, minding their biz, kind of, right? When we start the movie. Carol and Monica are out on space missions, and Kamala's chilling in Jersey. I love the continuation visually of the graphics and animation and the storytelling carryover from the Miss Marvel series. I was like, yes, it's so visually stimulating. That's one of my favorite things about that series. I'm glad that it was incorporated and continues to be incorporated.
I agree. I love the vibrancy and the youthfulness of it.
Yes.
I think that's why Tom Holland is one of my favorite Spider-Mans, is because he's actually still in high school. Like, you know what I mean? Like, we got so caught up. Well, you know what I mean? When he first came out on the scene. Yeah. We, in this age of superheroes, Marvel does a pretty good job still, capturing the fun and levity of it and the brightness of it. But we started taking it way too seriously. Well,
shit, they killing the Iron Man stuff. It got heavy. Yeah, it got very heavy. My eyes out when Tony died.
Exactly. And she brings such a breath of fresh air that it's a joy to watch.
Yeah, and I said was because now when I think about him, he's such like it's him is like he's such a grown man to me now that it's like,
Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
he
I wouldn't say
was.
grown man, but he is definitely an adult.
Okay. All
Tom
right.
Holland is not giving grown ass man vibes, but we
Well,
still
he
love
needs a
him.
beard. Once he gets a beard,
I know. But see, the question is, can he grow one? And
I
that's
don't
what
know.
puts him back into the,
I
oh,
mean,
he's my little cousin
He's not
category.
Timothy Chalamet, but correct. He's
But they
not.
practically the same age. But yes,
Yeah, Timothy Chalamet gives me like,
boy genius. Like, yeah,
yeah, like I'm never grow up. He's Peter Pan. You know what I'm
Peter
saying?
Pan.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. All right. When Monica and Carol both touch an opened jump point, the three start switching places because they all have light power, all able to do different things with light power, and they become entangled. Fight scenes ensue, shenanigans ensue. And this is what I was referencing when we first got started of like, do you feel like you got enough lead up before the action kind of kicked off?
Not quite. And again, I didn't even fully register that all of their powers were light until someone explicitly said it. I'm like,
Monica.
oh, yeah, that's right. They are similar. That's why they're in this trio. You know what I mean? But yeah, don't know what was going on, really, truly.
Who is going to replace all the damage at Kamala's house was another question.
I was like,
They tore
where is
through that living
Michael
room.
Bay? Like, just blowing up the place.
Yes.
No remorse.
Her mom is so much more chill in this movie though than she was in the series. Cause I was like, I guess she's like, I've gotten used to all the shenanigans that go on, so we just gonna roll with it.
I mean, do you want the two alien men to be defeated or not? Right. And I guess you had
Tossing
to.
him around when he tossed the daddy in the couch, I was like, oh,
It was the dragging the staff through the fireplace for me. I was just like, they are tearing up all the walls,
they
all
sure
of them.
were. They sure were. They sure were. Carol and Monica has some tension going on. Monica, as we know from the Captain Marvel film, she was the daughter of Maria Rambeau, who was friends with Carol, longtime friends. So, Monica considered her Aunt Carol, and she thought Carol was going to come back. And Carol never came back. She was quite upset and let her know about it. I put in my notes, Carol was letting everybody down, including me, because I said, and I mean this, I do not understand why Carol, aka Captain Marvel, was not the one to absorb the energy from the Infinity Stones. Why was it Tony? What was the point of introducing this character with this power?
Right.
If Iron Man still had to die?
Didn't want to give her the glory.
Bro, I could not believe it. And I need it to be explained to me. I need somebody at Marvel to tell me why this had to be Tony's time, because it made no sense to me. Y'all did this whole in between introducing Captain Marvel for why. I have not forgiven them for that. I literally said, why was she even there? Anyway, the big bad in this film, Dar-Benn, is a Kree. She's planet hopping around, stealing resources to try and restore her planet. And she's got a quantum band, the same as Kamala. The Kree blame Carol for the events we saw in the Captain Marvel film where she killed the Supreme Intelligence, which ultimately ignited a civil war. They call Carol the Annihilator. Was this version of events fair? And was this a villain that you could get behind?
What they say, the victors write history. So I think it's very possible that Carol did what they said. She did that shit. And therefore called her the Annihilator. Why wouldn't you understand what I'm trying to say? And honestly, I was having a hard time hating Dar-Benn when all she's trying to do is find a home planet or save her home planet. It was definitely giving Killmonger vibes. Obviously, what makes them quote unquote evil is, they're very much by enemies necessary.
Yes. And that's where you get fucked up, right? Because
exactly.
You have no sympathy, empathy for anybody else who stands in the way of whatever it is you're trying to accomplish. And so I understood that at least Darbin had a mission that made sense, because some villains, that's one of my hangups with some films, is some villains are just, I'm gonna conquer the world for no
It's like,
reason.
why?
There's no
Right.
backstory for any of it. So she wanted to save her planet, she wanted to save her people, but the whole by any means necessary, so now you're coming and you're killing other people and other planets
Yeah.
for the sake of yours. Y'all
Yeah.
can die. Like
Exactly.
that's how I felt.
And you know what's so funny is people always say like these comic book stories could be like an allegory of real life. And I'm like, the United States has been notorious for this.
Bro, took the words
Notorious.
out of my mouth. When I
Oh,
was
we're gonna
watching
save the
this,
day, but you caused chaos in the aftermath, and therefore a new regime is born. And guess what? They don't give a fuck.
when I was watching this, I was like, can I talk? You know, I'm a part of a country that is probably called the Annihilator, you know, still the
Easy.
only country to ever nuke somebody. You know what I'm
Exactly.
saying? So I definitely, again, can rationalize it, can understand her thought process. And especially when you kind of realize that she's targeting planets that Carol cares about. She's targeting
Exactly.
planets that
Exactly.
Carol has people on that she cares about. So it's like, oh, it's even more diabolical, right? But again, I can't get behind you wiping out other races of people, of whatever you want to call them, in space, folks. I don't know if they want to be called people. You know what I'm saying? All
Aliens
sorts of
feels
species.
inappropriate.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
like I don't want to call them what they not supposed to be called.
Intergalactic folks.
Yes, those folks over on that planet over there. Yeah, like I don't agree with you coming and sucking the air from the atmosphere where the scroll, which the scroll has been getting it ever since we've been introduced to them. They can't catch a
Seriously.
break.
Seriously.
You suck all the air out of the atmosphere, then you go to my favorite planet, Aladna, to try to take their water. This is the part that gave me the most joy in this entire film. Going to Aladna, I say, is that supposed to be like Aladdin? Because that's the vibe
That's
that
what
I
I was
got.
feeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Carol
Easy.
secretly married the prince, and the language is song. This is the biggest like Disney movie moment of any Marvel film we've seen, because it was giving me all the Disney Arabian Night vibes.
It was the prince for me.
And the fact that he was bilingual, he could just speak plainly.
Exactly. Exactly. Can we take a moment and understand that this man is 35 years old? Shout out to his skincare because, sir, what?
I'm telling you, minorities, we keep it tight. We keep it tight.
God had to give us some grace somewhere.
For all the hardship we were going to go through, we couldn't look like what we've been through.
Girl, preach. Okay, preach.
Can I also say that, again, Kamala's family, her parents letting her go on this mission to stop Darbin is definitely a departure from the series, because
Correct.
like we're now playing around with the Avengers for real. You know, the first
Mm-hmm.
series, it's like, okay, we're just in Jersey, we're doing some things in Jersey. Nah, we're hanging with the Avengers now. But they did, it was cute that Nick Fury allowed them to come along, right? To feel like they were still a part of things, and that she
Yeah.
was not completely out of their sight. And so it kind of made it like a fun adventure for the fam to
Yes.
go on as well.
But not everybody can really just be on a spaceship like that though. Like
Absolutely not.
the
Training.
mental fortitude that you need to have to be in a space.
You don't even know if your body could handle it, right? You don't even know if you're
Exactly.
physically going to be okay. But this is Marvel and this is the Avengers, so they do what they got to do. I want to know where the brother's wife was, because he's FaceTiming her from space. I'm like,
Right. But he was already just chilling at home with his parents to begin with.
exactly.
So I don't know.
We watched a whole wedding on Mrs. Marvel. Where is your wife, sir? All right. So as I mentioned, Darbin is specifically targeting places that Carol cares about, and Earth was next. Well, the sun specifically. So for me, when I'm watching, I was like, oh, now this is personal. Because now you coming for us. You coming for the humans. Would you have been okay being eaten by an alien cat for a little bit to survive?
The way my claustrophobia is set up, that would be a no. Absolutely not.
It's not just claustrophobia. Where are you when you're in these alien cats? Where are you?
Where's the air? That is my question. How are you breathing?
You just chilling in their guts? Like, I was, it was funny.
Are you shrinking? Like
something. Because it was multiple. One cat was eating multiple people. Like, it was a fun sequence and a fun segment. And
was it though? It was quite terrifying for me. Terrifying. These cute cats, and you see these random tentacles coming out. No, thank you. No, thank you.
I think because this isn't my first rodeo, we got introduced to Goose and Captain Marvel. Yeah, it was disgusting at first, the eggs, because you really didn't know what the F those things were.
I thought they were brains. I was like, so cat, are they eating brains? Like, yeah. I don't.
That was pretty disgusting. But it was fun, just fun in the sense of like, having to have all these kittens eat all these people and then having them floating up in the spaceship. Like, it was a very like Guardians of the Galaxy or Thor moment to me of just like levity and fun. But I was wondering, like, I would have nightmares for the rest of my life if I got eaten by some type of octopus kitten. So
literally, this sounds inappropriate, but I'm like an octopusy.
I think that's a Bond film.
It is. Yeah. It is.
So Dar-Benn ends up getting the other bangle that, again, Kamala has and wanting to use it because, again, this is how she is ultimately trying to crack open all these jump ports to get everything she needs. So once she gets this final bangle, she thinks, this is it. I've got it. She ends up killing herself, which everyone had warned her might possibly happen. And she tore a hole in space-time in the process. What a low-key moment this was. I was like, where's Kang? Again, we're not gonna have Kang in the future, but that was my thought. And Monica, the Black woman, has to be the sacrifice to repair it. I literally, having cats, I was not okay.
Not okay. Especially with her sealing herself in on the other side. I'm over it. Overrated. No, thank you.
I felt the heartbreak when Carol was racing out there and missed the opening of the portal. I was like in the theater, like heartbroken. Like, what does this mean? Is Monica dead? Are we going to see her again? You just had no idea. And I'm like, had to be Monica, didn't it?
Well, especially when you have a blonde, all-powerful being. The reason why I'm bringing up her being a blonde woman is because it's like that magical Negro trope we always talk about. It's like you got to protect the main character because you're always secondary, but always the one that's willing to give the sacrifice. I actually read several fantasy books in the last year or so, and you have this cool Black character, but then somehow they all end up dead for the push to move the main character to the next step. And I'm like, I am over disposable. I'm over women of color, Black women characters being disposable.
Yeah, it was very upsetting. To your point, it seemed like Carol didn't know her own strength because the fact that she didn't even ever think about until Monica said something that she had the power all along to restore the sun for Hala, which is the whole reason why we're in this mess. I was annoyed.
Yeah.
Again, that's why for me, when I was watching this, I was like, y'all couldn't think of nothing else? Like, you telling me just her being her, she's had the power all along to set them back on the path they need to be set on after it's been 30 years. And she had never had, this thought had never occurred to her. So what was the point of this? What was the point of this?
Truly. And
you see her go fly through it, charge it, and fly out.
All in one piece.
But again, Tony had to die. Monica is now trapped in an alternate universe. Dar-Benn has killed people and things and planets. And all she had to do was go be a battery and charge the sun. Okay. So as we wrap up, we have to talk about our post end credits and then our end credits scene. Post end credit scene, Kamala tracks down Kate Bishop, aka the new Hawkeye, and it seems to be a setup for the Young Avengers. Are you excited
Yes.
for the potential of the Young Avengers?
Yes and no. And here's why. So, yes, I believe the actors they have are beautiful, vibrant, funny, fun. Maybe it'll be the reset that Marvel needs, possibly. No, because it's like more of the same. Are we going to be able to get out of this superhero cycle? Like, I
Are
feel
you
like
feeling burnt
Hollywood,
out? Are you feeling burnt out?
I felt burnt out around Doctor Strange.
The last
Um,
Doctor Strange film.
yeah, yeah. And I
That was
slowed down
dark.
tremendously after that, especially after rooting for Wanda in WandaVision and then seeing her character arc in that film. I slowed down tremendously. That's why it took me forever to see the final Ant-Man. I have yet to see the third Guardians of the
Guardians.
Galaxy. And I still need to actually see the final Thor or the latest Thor. I haven't seen that one because we used to be up on it, Ashley. Like on it.
Yeah.
But
That last Doctor Strange was dark, and I was upset with how Wanda went, how things went down with Wanda in that film for sure. I think, to your point, I don't know if I'm burnt out, but I think that nothing moves me as much as the Avengers because it feels like that and Black Panther are as good as it's gonna get.
well, we also no longer have our Fab Five, right? Captain
Them killing
America's
Tony killed me.
girl. Yeah,
Like,
truly.
unless they make this switcheroo where they bring in I think it's a black woman in the comic books and she re,
Ironheart.
yeah,
Yeah.
revives it and what have you. Them killing Tony killed me. Iron Man was my favorite Avenger.
Was he? Okay, that
Yes.
you and David have that in common.
Outside of once I have T'Challa for real,
Yeah.
then things change. But Iron Man, because think about how integral, I mean, Iron Man was everything when we really got going with Marvel.
Yeah. Shout out to Blade who financed that though.
Well,
Black
we're still
superhero.
waiting on the next Blade.
The postponement of that whole situation. First of all, I am of the opinion take your effing time because Mahershala is the perfect casting they've
It's
had
going to
in
be
a
excellent.
very long time. So do not F up the writing and directing of this because he's going to bring it because he's Mahershala. Like
It's going to be fantastic. I hope that things continue to excite me and surprise me. Like I'm truly not burnt out. Like I said, I just feel like we've gotten some things that are like this is as good as it's gonna get in terms of the storyline, in terms of the acting, in terms of the excitement for it. But maybe there will be some things down the line that'll come along that will reignite people's love and excitement for the Marvel Cinematic Universe in the same way. I don't think it's gonna be Young Avengers, to your point, but something.
so two things. In light of everything that went on with Kang, i.e., the Jonathan Majors of it all,
Yeah.
you know which character would have been fantastic with it being like the main universal, like bad person?
Oh.
Freaking Kate Blanchett character from Thor.
Oh, that was a good
She,
one.
oh, she was like sexy and fierce and villainy. And she was serving us looks and badassery, Ashley.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I think they've said definitively, maybe definitively, or I've just been hearing it, that they're going to take from the one villain, is it Doctor Doom from Fantastic Four, is
Yes.
going to be more central and replace Kang. So, but Kate Blanchett did play a really good villain in that. I
We
don't
only got
know.
her
I
in one
mean,
movie.
I just think there's so much about like the actual comic book lore that I don't know. Again, that's why I get excited when new characters get introduced because I'm like, I don't be knowing all these people. I don't be knowing all their powers. So maybe that's it. Just needing fresh blood and energy
Yeah.
and bringing in some new folks will help to keep us excited. So to speak to the end credit scene, Monica is alive in this new universe and is met by an alternate version of her mother and the Beast. So we are
Yes,
officially
ma'am.
introducing mutants and
X-Men.
specifically the X-Men finally into the
Yes,
Marvel
ma'am.
universe. Now
I need a better Storm, though. I need
that excites the
Storm
hell out of me.
to just, I need Storm to get the movie that she deserves. Okay.
Justice for Halle Berry too. Halle Berry absolutely deserved her own Storm movie previously.
I thought it was funny because in the first one, this is back in the day for our Gen Zers who were probably born when the first one came out. Uh, she tried to do the accent. And then by the time we moved on to the other movies, she dropped it. I was like, sis, thank you. We didn't, unless it was more natural, we didn't need it. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Those first couple X-Men though were everything. I still have them on DVD.
So good.
So
The
good.
introduction of the knight, what was the guy in the blue? That was such a moment.
Oh
Um
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yep. Yep. I know who you're talking about. I can't
Night
think of his name.
Fury?
It's
No.
no. Nightcrawler.
Nightcrawler.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those first,
Those
I
movies are
mean,
so good.
they were really good.
James Marsden, my sister and I used to call him Cheekbones because he didn't have his eyes visible, but you knew who he was based off of the face card never declining. Okay.
Yeah.
Um,
He even played a good villain in Gossip. I hated him in Gossip.
Gossip.
Film with him, Joshua Jackson, Kate Hudson,
Oh, yeah, back in the day. Okay.
back in the
Yeah.
day. Back in the
And
day.
one last thing to the burnout. You know me, I'm just like, can we just spend money on some good rom-coms? We don't need blockbusters. Like, and I know I on this podcast, I'm the romantic head here, right? But if you think about it, we grew up in the age of rom-coms. How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days, 13 going on 30, Never Been Kissed. Like the
I mean, but
list
you can even,
goes
I mean,
on and on and on.
The Meg Ryan era, the Julia Roberts
Yes,
era. I mean,
yes.
those
But
were
they dropped
definitive.
it like a bad habit. And all we get is Hallmark. And it's like, bring back the low to mid budget.
I mean, the box office is tough. I think that's the thing is now with the attraction to, and again, as someone who I never thought I would see the day where I prefer to watch movies at my house versus the movie theater. I used to
Yeah,
be,
it was
I am
an
going through
event.
withdrawals if I have not been to the movie theater in a period of time. So to have the attraction drawn back, I get why it's these big time blockbuster things and vehicles that push people there.
But you have
It
movies
also can
like
cause
Dune
burnout.
2 that is justifying the big budget with the big box office.
I feel like I got to
So
go see it in IMAX because that's what
same,
everybody is saying. Got to see it in IMAX.
same.
I think Van called it a masterpiece. And I'm like,
People who are in it are
okay.
obsessed.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what happens with the Marvel Universe, especially given the disappointment with this box office. We'll see what direction that they choose to go in with these next few features. I know we'll have the Deadpool and Wolverine film that drops.
Yes. Yep.
So I'm sure that will generate some money, but we'll see what they do. We'll see what happens. Do you have any final thoughts on this film as well as just the future of the Marvel Cinematic Universe?
It was a fun ride. Shout out to Iman. I feel like she had a lot like on her shoulders in this film. I was talking to Dave about it. I'm like, she was the comic relief out of the three of them. You know what I mean? And I
And the
think
heart to a certain
and
extent.
the heart. And I feel like she did a wonderful job, but I feel like there could have been more in that trio dynamic that I wasn't getting. Even the drama between Monica and Carol could have just been a little bit more too. I don't know. There were some opportunities, but overall, it was beautifully shot. I thoroughly enjoyed the action scenes. I'm like, yes, women kicking butt
Mm-hmm.
and taking names.
I loved all their suits too, all their
Yes,
costumes.
I loved that towards the end of the movie that Captain Marvel was wearing like the old school costume, as you mentioned. And shout out to Monica for wearing natural hair because the girlies
In all of her
rep-
projects, she makes a point too.
representing us well.
Yep. Very nice. My final thoughts are, like I said, I think this movie deserved a lot more love than it received. Yes, I know that there were some things that were underdeveloped. Yes, I was not the biggest fan of that ending, but I also think about the fact that I don't think they gave this film enough time. This film was under 2 hours. It's rare these days to have a Marvel film that has
Very.
under 2 hour runtime.
They also didn't promote it very well either. We have to remember that. And it was during the freaking, oh, why? Duh. It was during the freaking writer's strike.
And this film was shot during COVID too, right? So they had those restrictions on them during filming. Um, so yeah, I mean, I think they had some things working against them for sure. But I think if you enjoy Marvel, if you enjoy projects that they've come out with, this is one that you will still enjoy.
Yeah.
Y'all can let us know if y'all think otherwise when y'all actually view it, but I wouldn't just take the media coverage or the box office numbers and let that dictate whether or not this film was worth a watch, because I do think it was definitely worth a watch. So kudos to these ladies. I hope they get to do another project together, and we'll see what happens with the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like I said, as we move forward. So, all right, Delora, if there is nothing else, what are your hidden gems for this week?
All right, Ashley, we share one day. It is a romance drama available on Netflix, came out this year. I didn't finish it, Ashley. I am in the thick of it, but it's one of those stories where you see two individuals, meet up through the years and, will they, won't they?
Right.
Essentially.
And what's funny is when I went into the series, I didn't realize it was the same story from the Anne Hathaway film
Yes.
that came out previously. So I remember thinking, like, why are people always riding on bikes? It never works out well, right? And I'm like, why are people riding on bikes? I was like, God damn it, it's the same story. So
Yeah.
if you've seen the film with Anne Hathaway, I love that this is a much more fleshed out version. I so enjoyed our
time.
Yeah, and I so enjoyed that we have the two leads that we had. You have our holdover from White Lotus.
Yes.
And then the actress who plays
the nephew.
Yeah, then the actress who plays our lead, she originally said, I can't play this character. Like, this is not, I thought she was fantastic. Fantastic in this role. I so enjoyed her.
It's a bit annoying to me, but again, I'm still making my way through the series, but I've enjoyed it so much.
She may annoy you, but she is the character, right? Like, you never question
that
she is in this character's skin.
Yeah, great point. Check it out. All right. And my second is not quite hidden. This is the Juggernaut on ABC. I'm referring to Abbott Elementary season 3. We're back. We're back after the strike. And the show is so freaking good, Ashley. I'm going to highlight this episode in particular, the smoking episode, episode 4. The fact that they were sitting up talking, spoiler alert, about the drugs or vices that they had with the door wide open in the teacher's lounge had me rolling. Okay. And then the kid heard them and then posted it all over social media. I think what's fascinating about that conversation, honestly, is how open people are with vaping or marijuana smoking or whatever it may be, because that was definitely not the case with us growing up. You know what I mean?
Not at all.
We were Dare children.
We were Dare. I still have my Dare shirt. I wear it to bed.
Listen, okay. No means no, and that's to all things, all gateway drugs and all.
Jacob was hella addicted, wasn't he?
Was he not? And he was, you would think out of the entire group, he would not have that problem because he would know all the stats and all the issues with it. But at the end, when she was like, so you're sucking air through a tube then.
Just needed the fix of the feeling, which is, I mean, that's true. That
It
is
is
one of the
true.
things that people who smoke
They need to
miss.
do something with their fingers.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
is the motion
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, it's wild.
So, yeah, Abbott Elementary, it's on right now and we're missing it.
All right, so we already talked about One Day. My other two is just because I've been on a Disney Plus binge since I have it now. So I watched Big Hero 6, which I had never seen before and found so delightful.
Really? It's
Yeah.
quite heartbreaking,
Yeah,
actually.
it was deep. 2014 film, action
Yeah.
comedy, they consider it. But it's the story of Hero. He's a young robotics prodigy, and Baymax, his late brother's healthcare provider robot. They go through some things in this film. It's definitely deals with like tech, but to a degree that is a little concerning, and some things happen.
Oh,
Um,
yeah. Like the
and
aliens are going to take over one, or the robots going to take over one day.
yeah, Hero kind of has to, save the day along with Baymax and a cast of characters. So it was just delightful. Like I really enjoyed it.
I think they do a really great job discussing grief in the movie. But again, very heavy subject. And shout out to my favorite Wayans, Damon Wayans Jr. is one of the voices of the band characters.
All right, and my last hidden gem is Dumbo. Again, I don't think I had ever seen Dumbo before, right? So I watched the live action version on Disney Plus. You talk about subject matter. Disney knows how to get you with some mom stuff. Because either you don't have a mom, or your mom dies, or you're separated from your mom. I don't know why this trope exists in the Disney universe. I don't know what type of
Yeah,
relationship Walt Disney had with his
yeah, with
mama.
his mama, right?
But it lives on. But I just really enjoyed the live action. It was so fantastical. Dumbo was freaking adorable. Colin Farrell was in this. You had again the young lady who Tandy Newton's daughter, who I was just talking about
Yep,
from Suncoast. She's in
yep.
this. And Danny DeVito, I just thought it was a good ride. Oh, Michael Keaton, which is so funny because I was like, is this the
Yep.
first time Danny DeVito and Michael Keaton have been reunited since Batman?
The
Maybe.
first time?
Maybe.
Maybe, but I
Because
mean,
remember Batman
dynamic
Returns,
duo.
guys?
Of course,
Michael Keaton was
Penguin.
Batman and Danny DeVito was Penguin. So I got a
Hmm.
lot of joy from my exploration of some of these Disney Plus things I've been watching. I watched Strange World as well, which I think was that a hidden gem for you at one point, Strange World? Another animated feature from Disney Plus?
No, I don't think
Okay.
so. What is
This was
that one
one where
about?
the family was like came from explorers, like the grandfather was an explorer, and then the son.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
So I
Oh,
just
people
watched
made a
that.
big deal about that one. It was
Gabby.
released on Disney Plus because it had LGBTQ
Yes, with
representation,
the son.
and then with the son, and the
Yeah.
people were up in arms about it.
Gabrielle Union's the mom. I enjoyed that one too. So I've had a good time with I didn't think there was that much on Disney Plus that I wanted to watch, but I've watched Elemental as well. Like I've been rolling
Yeah,
through, guys.
Elemental was good. And then I'm just gonna throw it out. The two books that I was referring to where I was really upset on how they dealt with their Black female characters. The first one is Throne of Glass, which is really popular by Sarah J. Maas. And the second one is called Powerless, which is like a newer fantasy. But honestly, Powerless was borderline not great because it's full of all the tropes. It's like if the Hunger Games had a baby with if Hunger Games and the Court of Mist and Fury had a baby, it was a little bit too on the nose, but she was able to make it her own towards the end. This one is by Lauren Roberts. It's like Black women deserve to be happy, loved, and alive. Okay.
We do. The full range. We enjoy it. We deserve all the things. All right. Well, that's it for us today, guys. We appreciate y'all. We'll be back. Please share this episode with your friends, family, loved ones, everyone. We appreciate you. Give us a rating or review. We will be back. But in the meantime, as always, be blessed.
Bye.